Hey, this is the coach, Brian Wright. I am hopping on. We are less than a month out from DBX 6, Miami, Florida. We've got a pretty good card developing. There are things we need to talk about, so I had to bring in my trusted crew here. So, guys, let's introduce ourselves. Please, Brian Jr., why don't you hop in first?
Hello, I'm Brian, the interviewer, and I'm going to be going over everything they want to talk about today.
And
And
Michael.
I am Michael Hanson. I have the privilege and pleasure to be the ring announcer for Dirty Boxing Championship. And I can't wait that we're going back to Miami for a home game here. DBX's headquarters, the HQ, where it all started, where it all began. And we're going to bring another electric night of fights, the Dirty Boxing way, to Miami.
So this will be my first dirty boxing in Miami. I'm really looking forward to not only dirty boxing, but getting away from this Northeast horrible weather, which has been plaguing my existence for the last couple months. I was just in Vegas last week celebrating my 52nd birthday, which is,
Woo!
that number sucks to say,
52.
but it is what it is.
You old man.
Yeah, and then
He just
Brian.
keeps getting older.
Yes, don't we all? So Brian came with, and we went out there to Vegas, and we went to UFC 326. We went to the UFC PI. We went to Extreme Couture. Ate a lot of food, drank a little bit, did what I had to do, and now I am back to work. And so what are we looking at here? We're looking at DBX 6. So far, you were telling me there's more fights than I even knew. So far, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 fights that I'm aware of. I say let's walk through some of these fights. But what was the fight you were just telling me about that wasn't actually on Tapology yet?
I think it was yesterday or the day before, DBX announced the return of the Cobra, Milos Janicic, who I announced, I think, in my first go with Dirty Boxing in Miami, back in Miami last year, from Montenegro. Milos is arguably going to be the biggest name on this card. The guy is huge in Europe.
Really?
Has a huge following online, and he is superb. He's so good.
So is he coming from a kickboxing and MMA background?
MMA mostly, I think.
Okay. And he's fought on DBX before?
Correct.
So
I
he's
think
1-0 in
his-
DBX?
It's either his second or third fight in DBX.
Oh. Why am I drawing a blank on this
Second or
one?
third?
Boy, I have to do my homework on that. From the information that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 debuts on this card, which when you think about it, with the amount of fights that we have, to have 9 guys that are debuts and the rest of them are guys with experience, it goes to show you that by DBX 6, we're starting to actually get some real experience going here. We've got guys that this is not the first time stepping into that 18-foot ring. I think that's
Yeah,
going
the
to
day
make
is
for a
going to
good night
come.
of
And I
fight.
don't know. It might not be for a while. Might not be for a few years, but the day is going to come eventually where there will be almost nobody on a DBX card, or no one on a DBX card, who is making their Dirty Boxing debut. We're going to have, guys with growing records within Dirty Boxing all competing.
Absolutely. I mean, to see a card that has this many guys with experience already is fantastic. It's not like they're just recycling talent either. They're actually developing talent under the rule set. And that's why I think this card's going to be so interesting. I mean, we can start at the main event and go backwards, or we could start at the bottom and go to the top. It's up to you guys. Where are you looking at, Mike?
Let's start main event.
All right, let's do it. So we have got, Perez, the Wolf, versus Garcia. Both guys are 2-0 in DBX. Completely different personalities. You've got the Wolf, who's just aggressive, to say the least, with his social media presence. And then you have Mr. Garcia, who tends to be a little bit more of, I'll say, respectful is maybe the word. I don't know, but he's the more chill guy going into this. I think it's an interesting matchup. I think you've got aggression versus, calm and reach. We've seen both guys fight before. They both bring, 2 times in DBX, varied experience outside of DBX. I think it's a really interesting main event.
Yeah, you have Rob the Wolf Perez, who is He is so in your face, so aggressive. He's loud. He's loud in every way. He has a loud personality, has a loud voice. He tries to be loud, and he fights in a nasty, dirty, loud way. And then you have Big Mike Garcia, who, like you were alluding to, he is a very unassuming guy, very soft spoken, gentle giant kind of a guy. You
Exactly.
would, if you didn't know any better, you would never know that he was a deadly, lethal pro fighter. Like he could be doing any kind of day job, and he just is also a killer. And as nice and respectful as he is during our media day interviews or when you meet him out in public, when the lights go on and when he's wearing his mouth guard and he's all taped up and greased up, he's a bad boy. Don't get it twisted.
I actually like that. I like the fact that he has just a more normal vibe going into it, almost a blue collar work ethic where he's going to punch the clock, get in there and punch somebody in the face. He looks at it as his job, where Perez is putting on a show as much as doing his job. There's room for both. And I think the clash of personality and style is what makes this fight so interesting. We're not talking about guys with massive amounts of experience. I think it's the right amount of experience to put them together to do something special on this night. I think it's a really good matchup. I think AJ did a great job in putting these two heavyweights together to represent what DBX is evolving into.
Mm-hmm.
This fight is also for the interim heavyweight title, and not for just for the heavyweight title. And whoever wins has to fight Rosenstruck because he's out for a little bit. It sounds.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with Rosenstruck. I don't even know if he's in the country. I've heard that he's been deported. I've heard he's had issues. I don't really know what's going on there. But, if they can get him back, he'll definitely have to fight, the winner of this bout, Rosenstruck. I mean, that dude, that's a hard go for anybody. There are some heavyweights in the division that I think can give him a run. I honestly don't know how these two could match up against him in the future. I think right now, for them, they need to focus on each other, and then they're gonna have to put in some work because Rosenstruck brings a ton of experience into that ring.
Now,
Yeah, the level. You can go. That's fine.
I was just going to say, interestingly, Brian, alluding back to our last conversation right here on this show, we were talking last time about MMA, boxing, and kickboxing / Muay Thai. Jairzinho's a guy who brings in a kickboxing pedigree, if I'm not mistaken. But even without those kicks, man, he does not look aimless in that ring, man, because he is so accurate, so precise, so deadly.
Well, that's where the MMA comes in. The MMA
Sure.
experience he has. He's comfortable with little gloves. He transitioned from kickboxing, the big gloves. Then he has the experience with little gloves. He has experience with the elbows. He has experience in the clinch. He knows how to wrestle now. So that's a guy that, coming to DBX from going from kickboxing, then going to MMA. He's the perfect formula in a lot of ways for the kickboxers trying to transition. Guys that are going straight from kickboxing directly into DBX are struggling a bit. But once they put the little gloves on, do some MMA, they're more prepared for DBX because DBX, again, as the hybrid, you can't just come in and have the accuracy without the familiarity of the little gloves. And
look at a guy who just fought for us at DBX5, Ben Woolis, decorated Muay Thai combatant. He did get the W by decision, I believe, back at DBX5. But I think we all agreed that he didn't look like a world beater in the DBX ring. And just this past week, he got a leg kick TKO. Killed the guy with a leg kick.
Kickboxing is where he belongs. That's
he's
a guy.
So good. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's a great fighter. He's just not a great DBX fighter. It's that simple. I mean, it's just not right for his skill set. He was hesitant with the little gloves. He didn't like the wild style, and not being able to kick that took away his main weapons. I mean, if you watch the guy going into the last one, he's kicking the bag more than he's punching it. So DBX was a little bit of a stretch for that skill set. Where I think a lot of these other guys, when you come in, you can't go into MMA and kickbox your way through it. You have to really invest in the boxing, and that's why I think Rosenstruck is such a dangerous guy coming in DBX,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
he went from kickboxing to MMA, gets comfortable with little gloves, upgrades his boxing game, understands wild style if it's coming at him, is not as afraid of the little gloves flying at him because he's got the experience with it. That's why he's such a formidable champion, and that's why I think Perez or Garcia, it'll be interesting. Let's see these two go to war. It's hard for me to pick what's going to happen here because this is really pressure versus consistency, and sometimes that pressure, that wild style will catch it. And with little gloves on and an 18-foot ring, you really have no idea what's going to happen with these two. Somebody's going to catch somebody. I hate to say it because last time I said these fights are all not going to go the distance, and like they all did, but I don't think we see 5 rounds in this fight.
Hope not. What do you think, Lil Bry?
This fight is an interesting fight. Yeah, Perez is really loud. He has a few fights in dirty boxing now, and he's kind of like almost a star when it comes to he brings a lot of fans to the table. He's very fan friendly, but the thing is, can he handle a style like Garcia has? So that's what I'm interested in. And if it goes into the later rounds, I want to see how the cardio holds up, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be earlier than we think.
I think the elbows of Garcia, if used effectively, will be the thing to watch. Having
Mm.
that reach, and if you get past his punches, you're running into elbows. He effectively uses the rule set, and that's what I like. Perez is going to come in, and he's going to use the aggression and the power. Garcia is going to use the rules. And yeah, it's going to be power versus technique in this one, I think.
I mean, I
Garcia
like.
really does use the DBX rule set really well.
Yeah, he does. I would love to see either of these guys advance on and challenge for the undisputed title. Rob Perez is definitely a guy who has such a big personality, both in person and online, that I think if he were to be able to get past Big Mike and be able to match up with Jarzinho at some point down the road, maybe this year, it would be, it was fertile soil for him to really pop in terms of his popularity.
Agreed. So if you get beyond the technical aspect of these fights and you get into the business of the fight game, I think Perez has a huge upside with his personality to bring eyeballs to the table. I mean, I think there's a lot of value there. I'm not saying that Big Mike doesn't have value. It's just that he doesn't have that. He's not hopping on the internet and trying to bring as many people as possible with him. He's letting his fighting do the work. Where the wolf is coming in, I mean, he's the wolf. I mean, he's got a name. He's got an attack online. He's got an attack in the ring. This guy's coming at you from all levels. So again, he wins. Go into him versus Rosenstruck. Oh my God, the promotion behind that, it's a no-brainer. It's an easy one. Big Mike, same thing. I think it's just, yeah, the personality from the business side, you want to see that. It brings a little bit more spectacle to the sport aspect of it, where I think Big Mike is more sport, but it is what it is. I'm looking forward to that fight. The one that, the guy that we all were talking about was Mr. Ware. And I believe he's the co-main event against Saldana. Both of them are coming in 1-0 at DBX. Saldana's got UFC level of experience, and Ware is 4-0 in boxing, and he's won all of his fights by KO. With these, you've got a really sharp mix here. You've got guys with great experience. Both are extremely confident. Both have the experience in DBX. And this is high-level MMA versus explosive, effective boxing. And Ware has shown that he's not just a boxer. He was throwing elbows, and he spun and, worked the body, worked the head, mixed it all up. This fight, I mean, arguably this fight could have been the main event.
Agreed. This is the kind of fight, exactly what we've been talking about for months now, Brian, that DBX is a meeting ground between high level MMA strikers, boxers, and the best of kickboxing as well. And this fight is freaking exhibit A. You have Saldana, like
Exactly.
you said, who has a UFC pedigree. He's a high level MMA fighter with great hands. And you have this guy, Montavious Ware, who I believe, without having the Tapology right in front of me, I don't think he has any MMA experience, or
No
MMA fights
MMA
on his
fights.
record.
He's 1-0
Four
in
boxing fights.
DBX,
Right.
4-0 in boxing. Every one of his boxing matches, he finished by KO.
Yeah. So this is the kind of fight for within the DBX rule set that has me just rubbing my hands together. And I cannot wait to be ringside for this one.
This is going to be an explosive fight. I do not see this being slow or plotting in any way. I think this is two guys that are going to get right after it. And what I like about both of these guys is that they're very aggressive, but they're also skillful. This is not just pure power, pure aggression. There's a lot of skill to both of these guys. They're both bringing in very interesting experience. Ware has limited experience, but he looks refined when he fights. I love that about him. This guy is matured in front of our eyes. And in the, couple of minutes we got to see him fight, you just saw he was just maturing by the second. So now, with time to train, some more confidence, getting a little bit of pop behind him, I want to see what kind of monster walks into that ring.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ware's probably the biggest DBX prospect right now. I think that's who they are. I think that's what the eyes are on this card, in my opinion. This is what I'm most excited for, and I can't wait to see him go out there because this is a good matchup for both of them. Two sharp fighters.
In a lot of ways, this is a title eliminator. I think that the winner of this fight is going to be fighting for the belt at their weight class.
Yeah,
this is a very interesting one. What I'm thinking is, can just Ware go with somebody with the experience Saldana has? That's what I'm most excited to see.
Yeah, Saldana has 4 fights in the UFC. He's 2-1-1 in the UFC, and he's bringing that into the DBX ring. He's 1-0 in DBX. So this is a guy, he understands pressure. So when you say that this is a title eliminator, he understands that kind of pressure. I don't see him folding under this, and that's why I think the two of them matched up. This is a great matchup. They're both coming in with experience and momentum, and that's why I say this fight could easily be a main event on any DBX card.
100%. Montavious Ware is a guy who, for those who are listening right now, just to fill you guys in, he's a guy who, after his Dirty Boxing debut, internally within the organization, by that I mean us staff and broadcast personnel, we were all buzzing about this guy. And he's a guy who I would love to see, for Dirty Boxing to send out a camera crew, follow this guy along in his training camp, get a lot more B-roll, a lot more interview footage with Montavious. This is a guy that I think that we need to keep building up.
So Brian, I think you have your homework cut out for you. I think you gotta track him down on fight week, and you gotta introduce the world to who he is, not just what he does in that ring, but to let people know who he is, because we do want to know. I want to know about his opponent too. I want to know about a guy that's 2-1-1 in the UFC, ends up being 1-0 at DBX, coming back, and now he's looking at potentially winning this fight and getting a DBX title fight. What does that mean to these people? What I would like to know more about this is, instead of this being this fringe sport where guys get in the ring, but who are they? What's motivating them to come to DBX? Why are they coming back? What's the importance that DBX means to them now? Because we're dealing in MMA. If in combat sports, if you're not in the UFC, you're nowhere. And I don't agree with this. We're not in competition with the UFC. We're something different. We're something new, and we're offering an opportunity for people here. And I think the stories of these individuals that are fighting here need to be told better. And so, yeah, Brian, I think you need to sit down and you got to kind of let the world know who these guys are.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really emotional response to that, Brian. Thank you. Did you stay up too late last night? What's going on here? Brian, the interviewer, is mm-hmm-ing.
You didn't let me speak.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't give you enough time to get your momentum.
So I think that this Miami card is the most stacked card they have so far, and I do believe that a lot of these fights I think Montavious Ware could have headlined last card or even the card before that. I think he has a lot of momentum coming up, and I'm excited to see him fight somebody that's got experience, because what we've seen with the guys that come from the UFC, they handle pressure way better than the other guys. When a lot of these guys, they get in trouble and they start to panic, But the UFC guys, they stay calm and they push through, and a lot of guys without that level of experience don't really handle stuff like that well. So I'm excited to see how long Saldana, or if he can weather the storm, or if he can bring the storm to where.
I agree. So the next fight we have coming up is actually, so it's a debut in Cunningham versus Urit, who is 1-0 in DBX. So Cunningham is a DBX debut. He's only 1-3 in his last 4 fights, but that is a mix of a loss on Contender Series, but then he actually went to the UFC. And then we're talking about someone that's been there, fought in the Apex, fought on UFC main cards, doesn't have the best record, but like Brian was alluding to, guys that are going in, that are coming out of that level of competition, they understand pressure. Win, lose, or draw, they understand pressure. And coming in against Urit, who actually had a really good debut, a DBX, he's got the comfort level of being a DBX vet. He's had the experience. Now Cunningham coming in, DBX is going to be new, but he understands pressure. So I think this is a very even matchup in a lot of ways. I don't think any past records really matter. I think that these two actually have skill sets that match up. I think that this is going to be a technical fight. I think we could see a finish here, but I think it'll be a technical bout. I don't think it's just going to be walking and winging. I think it'll be guys that are putting a good skill set in there.
Isn't Cunningham related to, is it Bryce Mitchell?
I don't know. We got to do our homework on that. Is Cunningham related to Bryce Mitchell? That would be.
He's an Arkansas guy. I think I saw that he was cousins. If not related, then like very close with, because he's also an Arkansas guy.
Well, compete if they're training together, that's just another feather in the cap for him, because you're just talking about experience training with experience always elevates. So I think that'll be interesting. I don't have that much data on this. I just know that from from watching him before, he had good footwork, put good combinations together. He seamlessly walked into the DBX ring. There was not a lot of learning on the job there. He came in very prepared, and I love to see that.
100%. Yeah, I like Gabe in his debut, even though I believe he dropped the fight. I'm excited to see him back out here with another guy who, like you said, his record I don't think reflects quite as much his experience level. So I'm going to look for this one to be an absolute barn burner. What do you think, Bri?
So this fight I'm excited for. Gabe Urit, yeah, he's coming off a win. I believe it was first round knockout, and he was throwing big punches, but he was setting them up very well. And if Cunningham does train with Bryce Mitchell, I would expect that high level training from that. So it seems like 2 really high level fighters that I'm excited to see fight. That's what I'm expecting. Yeah, like what you guys said, how it was just going to be it's going to be technical. I can see it be technical, and I also can see him throwing down a little.
So the thing that's really interesting is that, everybody wants to see knockout, knockout, knockout. But when you start to get matchups like this, where AJ really does a great job, where he doesn't just throw guys together, he puts guys together that are going to be equally matched. I don't see on these cards one side being favored over another. I see everybody having a chance, and that's what I love about it, which might mean we do have more fights going the distance than we expect because the levels are more equal. But I think that's what makes this a sport over just the pure spectacle aspect of it. We're not walking into this knowing that this guy is just walking over that guy. I mean, we really have a lot of questions that have to be answered here, and that's where the drama and the excitement for these matchups for me is. I mean, we've even got the next bout. So we've got Alvarez versus Perez. Look at this one. Both of these guys are debuts. They do not have the best records, but they have the right mix of experience. You've got Alvarez, who's 3-6 in BKFC, which means put the little gloves on him. He's not going to be afraid to throw his hands as much because his hands have a little bit more protection. He's already proven that he's durable. He's got 9 fights in BKFC. You don't come out of BKFC undurable. I mean, that is a sport that is just guaranteed to bring you some scars. And then you've got Perez, who's making his DBX debut also. He's 5-5 in regional MMA. That's 10 fights. We've got a 9-fight veteran versus a 10-fight veteran. So that's right there. I mean, look at the wins and the losses. Doesn't matter on this one. It is experience. They're guys that are still in the game. They've put the body of work together. And yeah, this one should be pretty wild. This does not read like a fight that too much staring at each other. I think these guys are going to throw.
Yeah, this is a great point made by you, Brian. Often look at records and things like that and try to appreciate. And I'm somebody who doesn't. I'm not a fighter and I don't train. Although my little kids beat the crap out of me all the time. For a guy to be 5-5 as a pro, like that's a long journey. That reflects a lot of training and expertise. That's a high level guy. I don't care about his record. Like a guy who fights 10 pro, he's made it to this point. He's made it to 5-5. That says something, man.
That's 10 training camps. That's 10 studies of another human being. That's 10 attempts to break somebody down. Yeah. I mean, that comes with a skill set with that. That comes with a confidence, with an experience. You're getting more comfortable. You know, these are not guys that are going to come in and it's first time jitters. These are guys that maybe have to figure the rules out a little bit, but in terms of being professional, they both have enough time competing to come in, absorb the rules, and put on the right show.
Yeah. And I know that there are levels to this, but still, I don't care if it's from any regional circuit across the country. A guy is 5-5 as a pro. It's a high level fighter right there. That's a guy who knows how to handle himself.
Exactly. Now, the next fight, we have a return for Mr. Ogbonna Morrison, and he is fighting. I'm going to butcher his name. It's Hotusing. I'm going to say.
Oh, Hotusing. Bam Hotusing.
Okay. Thank you for helping me with that, so I didn't butcher it anymore. But so Ogbonna is somebody that we saw last time. I was underwhelmed by him off of the way he spoke in the fighter meetings. He spoke about this, basically bringing the thunder. I didn't see that. I didn't even know if I agreed with the decision that he won in that fight. I'm not trying to dump on him, but he was somebody that I don't know necessarily if it was the dance partner or what, new rules, going against a guy that really didn't allow him to express his technique so much because, that fight was just like a pure cardio. But okay, so Ogbonna, he's 1-0 in DBX. I don't know how I feel about that last fight. 1-0 in karate combat. He's 3-6 in MMA. Got a lot of fights. Comes from a good gym. Comes from ATT. Comes from a good gym. Has a lot of experience. Going up against someone that's 1-1 in DBX and 0-4 in BKFC. Having 6 fights that are primarily hybrid boxing is a massive advantage. And again, it doesn't really matter what the record is. Having hybrid boxing experience, going up against somebody that primarily is looking at karate combat and MMA, and didn't have a traditional boxing type opponent in his last fight, this could be interesting. Could be, how do you say his name again? Hotusing, my bad. So Hotusing, I think this could be a coming out party for him. But this also might be the dance partner that Ogbonna needed to fully express the skill set he was telling us he had.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what you just said about Ogbonna's last outing, let's not forget who he fought. He fought James "Dat Loose Cannon, who is another one of these names in DBX now who he keeps circulating because he keeps fighting for DBX. He also has a now career signature win over the legend Hector Lombard, who he knocked out in like 60 seconds. Because of the way that James Cannon fights, James "Dat Loose Cannon," again, invoking his nickname because he lives up to that in the ring. He's another guy, such a nice guy, such a sweetheart. If you ever meet him in the hotel hallway or ride the elevator with him, couldn't be a nicer guy. But in the ring, he fights like an absolute wild man. Again, not as a fighter, but it just seems to me, and you tell me, Brian, he seems super awkward in there. And he seems, just to sum it up, I think to distill it, he is the kind James Cannon is the kind of guy who is hard to look good against, and that's what we saw with Monte Obona in that last
Absolutely.
fight.
You're fighting a Tasmanian devil. I mean, the guy is
Right.
basically a human tornado. I
And
mean,
he's got those long dreads that just kind of he flings around as he's
yeah.
winging punches at you. It doesn't seem pleasant. And again, it's hard to look good against James Cannon. So I'm looking for Monte to have a much better outing. But he's going up against another guy who's a veteran in on Bam Bam Hodesing. And Hodesing, again, I think you said he has bare knuckle experience. And any of those guys who are bringing in some bare knuckle experience, I'm like, whoa, that's a whole other thing.
So it's really interesting, though. So bare knuckle, we went to Knucklemania, Brian and I, and his brother Reed. We went to Knucklemania, and the one thing I will say though about bare knuckle versus DBX is that bare knuckle is pretty much any time a solid contact's made, a knee's taken, an 8 counts called.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of exchanging. There's a lot of like they'll wing, 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 and then somebody goes down. So the skill level required for DBX is different. I mean, having the courage to stand in there bare knuckle is one thing. We've seen a lot of bare knuckle guys come through at this point. I don't have names off the top of my head, but we haven't seen a lot of success from BKFC guys because they're used to landing that punch in the fight ending. And in DBX, with having the gloves, it's not happening. So I think having the comfort of the experience is important, but they do have to transition over to DBX. And that's where we have 1-1 in DBX as well as BKF experience. So this one is not purely like, okay, first time crossover. This is someone that's crossing over and does have experience. So they have the grit, they have the experience. And that's why I'm saying this could be good. I mean, Ogbonna could finally have a dance partner here that is going to allow him to express himself. And it'll be interesting. This one is kind of like, all right, I'm very curious to how this plays out. I want to see if the language that was used last time will be brought into the ring this time, because it wasn't last time. Last time was more of a marathon, where this one I think we got a real fight.
The Ogbonna, I did not like the way how he talked the way he did and then went in there and did what he did. I know that James Cannon is a hard opponent and awkward to fight, but still, I feel like there was just a lot of hugging there, and it was just I feel like he would hit and then run a little bit, and it was just kind of scoring points. The way he talked did not support the way he fought, and I just didn't agree with what he did, how he went along that fight week.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes guys, they run their mouth a little bit and then they can't catch up to it. So, hopefully this is the one where, the walk and the talk will go parallel with each other instead of one outpacing the other.
Yeah.
So the next fight that we've got a DBX vet in Mr. Lee, who I am super excited to see come back. That was the one of the surprises of the last show for me, coming in from South Korea and putting on that performance, going against Garola. He's a debut. He's an 0-1 MMA fighter. I think this one is a development fight for both guys. I think we have a guy making a debut that's kind of getting a shot, and I think we've got Lee who is being brought back to be developed. I think they see a future with him. I mean, he looked really, really good in his last fight.
Yeah, Sung Jun Lee is a guy who
punched was wild.
Yeah, keep going.
Go, Bri, go.
The way he hit the guy, he hit so hard. I don't know how he didn't drop him. The sounds of those punches, the speeds of them, and he didn't run out of gas at all. He kind of he was going the whole time, and it looked like he reached flow state from the touch of the gloves. Yeah, that was an interesting one. I'm excited to see him fight. He hits like the speed of his punches. I was surprised at, and because I didn't get to see a lot of him. Like there's not a lot of tape of him out, but that fight was very surprising for me, and I wouldn't be surprised if he surprised me again.
Sung Jun Lee is a guy who I believe weighs in right at the heavyweight limit.
I think he had to cut weight to make heavyweight.
He is a gigantic guy. And his nickname is Hippo, and he lives up to that name. But just as importantly, He's a guy who you watch, and especially being there live, being ringside, and seeing him in person, uh, it is sort of astounding to see a man of this much girth
This much man.
move this much man, this much mass, to move so athletically and so fluidly. Fluidly, sure. Um, it's kind of it's a sight to behold and kind of terrifying as well. And he
I,
fought a guy in Victor Cardozo in his DPX debut a few months back, and Cardozo's a disciplined, talented striker, and Hippo looks great against him. So he's a guy who I am very, very glad that they're rebooking him right away, getting him right back in the very next DBX event, and we get to see more out of this guy.
he's very light on his feet, really good combinations, was super
Yeah.
surprising. When I see a guy that size, I do not expect anything that he brought to the table.
Right.
He
You see a guy
went
like that.
completely
Yeah.
against the look. But
Exactly. You think
I
that he's
hate
just
to
gonna be winging massive, huge power punches. No, he fights as though he were a middleweight or welterweight.
with cardio. It's wild.
Yeah.
Wild. Okay, so the next fight, I am actually really looking forward to this one. So we have Willis versus Jet. Willis has probably my favorite knockout in DBX to date with that uppercut knockout he scored. That was just a beautiful finish. I'm sitting there and I'm watching these guys fight, and he was using proper footwork, good stance, and he really had nice punches. He's 1-0 in DBX, has that amazing uppercut knockout. He's going up against someone that's coming in for their debut in Jet. He's 5-7 MMA, so he's got a lot of experience walking in here. But if Willis isn't walking in there with some confidence and big energy off of the skillful performance he put on last time against a very tough guy, I'd be shocked. I think this is going to be a precise banger.
This is the kind of fight that's again a earlier on the card matchup that I think might be a dark horse like fight of the night kind of fight, or
Absolutely.
give us another moment that really is a lasting, memorable one.
Yeah, this is a fight that I would have probably put up there before the co-main. This is a fight that on paper right now, it's pretty far down on the list. But yeah, I think this is going to be a standout. This is a great swing bout kind of fight. This is the one that's going to really get the crowd going into the main card.
Absolutely.
So
I'm
then we've
excited
got
to see how Julio. I'm excited to see the way Julio walks in there. Like I would be, yeah, like how you said, I would be surprised if he doesn't have crazy confidence going in, and if he does, I think that just makes him that much a better fighter. Because if he has confidence in those punches, yeah, I'd be shocked if he doesn't hit the guy really. It's he's a yeah, the experience here. I'm excited to see. It's a good matchup, and I'm excited to see more of Julio. Maybe we can see a few rounds of him.
now the next fight we've got Ewert, Ewert. I think I say that Ewert right. Mike,
think
you're the
it's
one who has to say it, not me. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do
I
it
think
better.
it's Urit,
Okay,
and
you're it.
his nickname is Tag. So Tag Urit. So
That's like a dad joke. That's
I
insane. That's like legitimately that was something that I would say, and my son would get mad at me for saying. His opponent is Matavao. I don't know Matavo.
Matavo,
So both,
Mataveo,
yeah, both.
Mataveo.
We've got a lot of experience here, though. We've got both guys are coming in. They're both debuts. With Urit, he's a contender vet. He's 7-2 in MMA. His opponent is 14-7 in MMA, and he's on a 3-fight knockout streak. So you've got high-level experience, and you've got a killer on one side. This is fireworks. I'll put my money on it right now. I'm going to say this one does not go the distance. I think you got two bangers. This this one is going to start the energy off early.
both guys are coming in with a lot of nice MMA experience with knockouts on their records. And again, this is another fight happening early in the card which, obviously we're putting a lot of our attention in the main and co-main, as we should, but this is one that might really leave a lasting impression.
Yeah, I don't think undercards are things to be overlooked in shows like this because we're getting a lot of really raw guys coming in that are not afraid to throw. I actually think the undercard might have some more highlight reel knockouts than the main card. I think that you're going to see a lot of bodies hitting the floor. We've got Henry versus Henry coming in here as well. So I don't know if they're related, but they got the same last name. You've got you've got 2-0 BKFC, I believe. So we're talking undefeated with 5 KOs, only 5 in 5 KO in sorry, undefeated, 5 KOs, 2 decisions in their career. So we're talking about someone that has never seen a loss, that has rarely seen the second round, that is bringing a lot of firepower. And then on the other side, we have 9-8 on a 2-win streak. So we have both fighters coming in with momentum. Both of them have a lot of knockouts. They don't see a lot of second rounds. Yeah, this is Henry versus Henry to see who's the dominant one in the family tree here.
By the way, I think this will be the third time in my ring announcing career where I'll be announcing opposing fighters with identical last names. It has happened to me. I introduced 2 like 105-pound Asian girls who both were named like Jessica. They both had the same first name and slightly different, not very dissimilar last names. I was like, oh my God, these two, I'm not racist. I'm not racist. I'm not racist. And then another time in a kickboxing bout, 2 guys, both from Ireland, both with the last name Donahue. I was like, what are the odds? What are the odds?
Well, they're not really. That's not that crazy because in Ireland, that is a massive name. So
That's true. So here we go again. Both fighters with the same last name, Henry. Or maybe one of them is Henri. You don't know. We don't know yet.
Well, they're both spelled the same. Let's see. I guess when we get there, we'll find out if there's any difference in how they say it. But I think this is another one. This is a classic banger. I think this is 2 people that we don't have a lot of experience with that they've got everything in the record to make it sound like it's going to be a banger. And then the last card, I guess this will be the last fight. This will be the one that kicks off the night. Is we got Craig versus Bailey. Both of them are 1-0 in DBX. Craig's 7-3 in MMA. Bailey's 3-1-1 in MMA. So we've got equal experience in DBX. We've got a decent amount of experience outside of DBX. And again, this is, it's 2 guys that are evenly matched on the experience side of it. Early on the card, trying to work their way up in the organization. I think we're looking at another banger here.
Bailey is 1-0 in DBX.
He's 1-0 in DBX.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from Hollywood Bailey in his DBX debut, and I'm excited. And he's fighting a guy who's bringing pretty good MMA experience. You said he's 7-2?
7-3.
7-3. That's a legit pro right there. That's a legit pro. What do you think, Bri?
I'm surprised that these guys are so low because of the experience. Like a lot of these guys with like just one or 2 fights in dirty boxing, they're higher up on the cards. I'm surprised that this is so low. I'd think this would be a little higher, but I feel like this card is so stacked. Like I feel like you can interchange fights and it still makes sense the way they're doing it. So I'm really excited to see this.
I'm walking through this card and I'm feeling kind of the same way here. I'm walking through this with you and I'm seeing how these matchups are. And I think a lot of this is just interchangeable. I don't think there's no, I'm going to, want to go get a drink break in this card. This is really solid matchups. These are even matchups where both sides have the opportunity here. I don't see anything. I don't see any massive mismatches. I don't see lulls in action. I see a lot of guys that are going to crack. I think this card is going to be pretty intense.
For sure, man. I cannot wait. Miami is going to be electric. And like you said, a lot of these seem to be great matchups on paper. We're going to see how they pan out in person in the ring when they're actually throwing leather under the lights. But that's another bigger conversation that we can have on another day of the kind of the tension between wanting highlight reel knockouts, but you don't want every fight to end in a 60-second knockout, because then, what are we doing?
Well,
What
then it's
kind
not
of
a
sport
sport.
is it?
Then it's a spectacle at that point.
Right.
And
So,
and that was the thing. Like people, were like, "Oh, I expected more knockouts in the last show," and I'm like, "No, this is evolving into a sport. The level of skill is getting higher and higher here. This is not just people knocking somebody out for entertainment. These guys are actually fighting to win, and that there's a difference to that. This is a real sport, and that's what I'm so excited about with it. And the thing that's really cool too is we're doing this the day before the UFC in Miami, so it's really going to have a lot of energy in town. You have an up and coming promotion with the most established promotion. Oh, did we lose Mike on that one?
yeah, you lost me because I got a freaking phone call.
See, look at you, your personal life intruding on your business. What's going on, buddy?
I know.
It's all good.
Am I not recording anymore?
No, I can still hear you. We lost you for a sec, but you're back.
Okay.
But the thing is just, again, it's like you have an up-and-coming sport with the most established sport in combat sports sharing the same space for a fight week. I think it's great. I think there's a ton of energy in town. Then, Big Malky did come out and say that there is the potential that we will be in D.C. doing DBX right before the UFC White House card. I think that the trajectory of all this and the momentum is there. I think this is really interesting. And again, when you're talking about the opportunities that are coming, when you talk about the eyeballs that the sport is consistently bringing now, and just we're getting momentum, I think that adds to these fights. I don't think this is lost on anybody. This is not the retirement tour league. This is a real sport on the way up. It's not second chance, last chance. These are people that are coming to this that are like, no, I think I can build a career here. And I love that. And when they see the opportunities coming their way, I think it makes them fight that much harder. I think they take it that much more seriously. And that's why we're not seeing as much spectacle. I think the biggest spectacle on this card is Perez. I think the Wolf is the spectacle. I think everyone else here is a working athlete. So I'm really looking forward to another step in the evolution of the sport.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Brian, who are you most looking forward to interviewing before I have to hop out with you guys?
The one I'm most excited, the interview is probably Montavious Ware.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I know you got things to do today. I appreciate you hopping on with me here. As we get closer, we're so close, but we should do this one more time. Let's see if there's any changes, any development. And then the other side of it is we're going to try and talk to some of these athletes beforehand so we can get a little bit of the insides of what's going on with them, who these people are. And yeah, I think the world wants to actually know who these people are, not just watch these fights. So let's take more opportunities to bring these guys into the conversation and let everybody know a little bit more deeply what DBX is all about. So I appreciate you taking the time out on this Sunday. And little Brian, I will see you soon. Dad will be home. And Mike, I will talk to you beforehand, but I do look forward to reconvening in Miami.
Let's do it. Awesome,
all right,
guys. Thanks for having me on. All right.
This is Brian Wright with Brian and Michael Hanson. Peace. We are out.